A major upgrade on the way for the passport office to the tune of $18 million. A $200 million commitment to jumpstart the Baha Mar project. And we have reaction to the closure of global money transfer services. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
A government delegation heading back to China for continued talks on the Baha Mar saga. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson. Government issuing a statement late this evening saying a delegation led by the Attorney General, Allison Maynard Gibson QC, will travel to China this weekend for the resumption of negotiations aimed at the early completion and opening of the Baha Mar resort. The government's delegation will join representatives of Baha Mar China Construction and Exim Bank in Beijing. The Prime Minister says these talks will go a long way in assuring the prompt resumption, completion, and opening of the development is fundamental to protecting our national interest. Mr. Christie continued saying the most effective way to preserve the livelihood of Baha Mar's workers, protect investors, and realize the project's great economic promise for all the Bahamas is to ensure the completion and opening of Baha Mar as soon as possible. Noting that most of the parties would be represented in Beijing by persons with executive authority, the Prime Minister says that it would be helpful to the negotiating process to have Mr. Sarkis-Merlian present in person as Baha Mar's chief decision maker. Should the parties reach an agreement, the parties can get back to the completion and opening of the resort without further litigation or other delay. If no agreement is reached, there will still be the option of restructuring and relaunch of the project under the authority of a provisional liquidator and the supervision of our Supreme Court, if the court is minded to so order after hearing from all sides, said the Prime Minister. The preferred resolution, however, would obviously be an amicable out-of-court settlement between all the parties, he concluded. In addition to the Attorney General, the government's delegation comprises of Sir Baltran Bethel, Senior Advisor to the Prime Minister, Commander Lauren Klein, Consultant to the Office of the Attorney General, Shari Moxie, Office of the Attorney General, and Ms. Crystal Thompson Bethel, Office of the Prime Minister. Well, earlier today, Reuters news agency reported that Baha Mar's principal developer, Sarkis-Merlian, had agreed to commit $200 million to jumpstart the project. This was reportedly declared by lawyers in a Delaware court yesterday, where Baha Mar initially filed for bankruptcy. The report, however, stated that lawyers representing Baha Mar did not provide details on the terms of that financial commitment. Meantime, government's winding up petition against Baha Mar is expected to be addressed by Justice Ian Winder next Friday. Earlier this week, Baha Mar's application to have its Chapter 11 bankruptcy approved here in the Bahamas was dismissed. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs looking to strengthen its border control in the next few months with some mooring upgrades. The minister responsible says those upgrades will mean a modernized system and other protections which come at a cost of $18 million. Jimmy Swain tells us more about that, as well as proposed changes when traveling to Canada.
As other countries continue to tighten border security, the Bahamas is on track to do the same thing. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell said a hefty investment will be made in the next 18 months by government to improve the country's border security.
It's going to cost us something like $18 million to do. New passports are coming, new exchanges available in databases, information databases for visa applications, work permits, border entry. And the hope and expectation is police, defense force, customs, immigration, and the customs, immigration, police, defense force will all be able to talk to one another.
And while the Bahamas strengthens its border management system, Minister Mitchell announced that Bahamians traveling to Canada without a visa will soon need an electronic travel authorization to do so come March 2016. The minister explains how it can be obtained.
Persons then from visa-exempt countries like the Bahamas will be required to apply for what's called an Electronic Travel Authority, or an ETA, before entering Canada. Persons will have to apply online for the ETA, with the vast majority, they say, of ETA applications to be auto-granted by an electronic system within minutes of submission. All ETA refusals will be made by an officer only.
Canada introduced this new policy earlier in the year, affecting visa-exempt countries like the Bahamas. The new policy will affect transit travelers, but not those holding student visas. Minister Mitchell said the government will continue talks with Canada to outline the parameters of the appeals and denials.
I can't imagine Canada being as sophisticated a place as it is that there's not an appeal process, number one. Number two is the fallback position is you apply for a visa, which unfortunately for us means Jamaica, because the Canadians have no consular presence here in Nassau.
The Foreign Affairs Minister said officials hope to travel to Jamaica in mid-August to speak with Canadian officials there about the change. Jimenita Swain, ZNS Network News.
As several global money transfer companies establish themselves here in the Bahamas, there's one that has recently exited the market. After more than 2 decades of service, Western Union has ceased operations. Our Carla Palmer reports.
After operating in the Bahamas for some 20 years, Western Union is no more. A subsidiary of Fidelity Bank and Trust International, the company officially closed its doors to the public on July 17th. A notice, which remains posted on the doors at various locations, made it official.
Then why you all closing down? Can you tell me why you're closing down? Where I got it, what I have to use? I want to find out exactly what else you can be open. All my brothers send money for me. I send for them when I'm ready. On Haiti or Miami or California.
Pascal Jean Simon is among hundreds of residents who have been consistent patrons of the global money transfer company over the years. We caught up with him at the Portsea dock. He was shocked and disappointed to learn of its closure, as no reason was given. The posted notice did, however, apologize for any inconvenience caused to customers as a result.
And I want to find out exactly what you all can do. You got to say something on the radio. You got to say something on the radio.
But what are you going to do now, Mr. Simon?
I don't know what I can do. You got to tell me what to do. They have to tell me what I must do. But I don't know what you all can do. We got to have some place to transfer the money for brothers and sisters all over the world. Because we got to go to Miami, New York, Chicago, all about.
Western Union has reportedly not only closed here in New Providence, but at its other locations in Freeport, Abaco, and Eleuthera.
I just found out about it yesterday evening. How you found out? Word of mouth, someone told me that the banks are closed and Western Union closed. Just got into a conversation.
That's Metellus Chipman. Unlike Simon, he's not concerned in the least that Western Union has discontinued its service.
My family's here. So for anyone who has family abroad in different places around the world, Western Union is important to them, or anything of any bank transfers is important to them. But for me, it's not that important because I don't use it on a regular. If I was using Western Union or any bank source on a consistent basis, yes, I want to know why it was closed.
ZNS News has reached out to executives of Fidelity, the operators of Western Union, since last week, as a matter of fact, and we're still waiting for them to get back to us. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
Major plans announced for the Big Yard as the business outlook took center stage yesterday. And a big honor for a basketball legend. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by the new Shell and Letty, designed for extra miles.